Hello everyone, I'm Rajesh. Before getting started with the course, quickly take the pre-test. This test will score your basic knowledge on power cables concepts before you take the online course. This test includes questions with multiple choice, single select and multiple choice, multiple select options. Read the question, select the correct options and submit it. On successful completion, you will be provided with the pre-test score and directed to the e-learning page. Hello all. Welcome to the second module on power cables. In the first module of power cables, we have seen the construction of power cables, methods of laying the power cables, guidelines for laying the cables, and jointing of the cables. With the help of this module, you will be able to list the design factors of a power cable, explain stress control, identify the methods of stress control, describe the method of tracking, explain the method of weathering, define the process of cable maintenance. Several factors need to be kept in mind while designing the power cables. They are stress control, anti-tracking properties, general features or weathering. Let us take a deeper look at the first factor, stress control. We consider the following aspects in terms of stress control for a power cable. High voltage cables are designed such that the electrical stresses are below the levels which could cause electrical discharge or breakdown of the insulating materials. However, where the cable construction is distributed, such as at a joint or termination, there is a concentration of stress pattern. For screened cables at 6.6 kV and above, there is a very high stress at the point where the insulation screen is removed. This stress is high enough to ionize the air at the cable surface. The temperature and byproducts of this ionization will over a period of time degrade the insulation surface. To avoid this discharge and subsequent breakdown of the insulation, a stress control system is needed to reduce the stress levels at the screen end. In RHM joints and terminations, stress control at the end of the core screen is achieved using heat shrinkable tubing. This tubing has a carefully controlled volume resistivity and permittivity which smooths out the high stress areas. As the tubing is heat shrinkable, it can be used on variety of cable types and is able to accommodate variations in the cable dimensions due to manufacturing tolerances. In 3-core belted paper cable accessories, the earth potential to the metal sheath is transferred onto the cores of the cable using a conductive breakout. Tubings are then used to control stress in the same manner as above. The electrical stress lines are crowded at a single point in the first figure. On the other hand, they have been homogeneously distributed in the second figure. The stress control tube helps to homogeneously distribute the stress lines. The stress control tubing also helps in equalizing the stress in the insulation. The flux density, that is, number of electrical lines passing through a unit area, is higher in figure 1. This causes the insulation to fail. In order to avoid this, we are providing a stress control tubing layer to the insulation. Having learned what stress control is, let us now understand why stress grading is essential for cables. We have represented the cable screen by the end of a pipe. Without any form of control at the end of the pipe, the water spills over the end in an uncontrolled manner. The flow is turbulent. This is equivalent to the electric discharge at the cable screen. Obviously, as we increase the flow of water, equivalent to increase of voltage, the turbulence becomes more violent, that is, higher discharge voltage. We represent the impedance layer by a tube with holes in it. If the material is linear, the distribution of holes is uniform. It is clear that the flow at the base of the tube close to the screen end is higher than at the top. This means that the stress distribution is uneven or non-linear. It is, however, a great improvement compared with no control, provided the impedance of the layer is carefully chosen. Linear material is adequate to control the AC electrical stress in the range 7.2 to 72 kilovolts. We represent the stress control material SCTM as a material made up of solid mass with distribution of holes. When the density of the holes is low, there is a lot of solid material. If we imagine that the solid material is conductive, then higher the solid content, lower the impedance to the flow of current on the longitudinal direction. When we measure the impedance of SCTM, we measure this longitudinal impedance. We can imagine that the solid material is the carbon content of the SCTM, the hole's insulating polymer content. We can therefore alter the impedance of the SCTM by altering the carbon or polymer ratio. A high impedance material has high density of holes. With the high impedance material, the hole density is high. The water flow is confined to the area just above the screen end. In this case, we get the screen end discharge. Note, it is not possible to alter stress distribution by altering SCTM length. We must alter the SCTM impedance. When the impedance of the material is too low, the result is SCTM end discharge. Note, in this case, we can improve the situation by increasing length of the SCTM provided the length of the termination allows this. The pipe for which impedance is perfect has been illustrated on the screen. Prior to getting into the types of stress control methods, let us understand what a stress cone is. A stress cone is a cone of insulating material built up at the end of the cable screen made either from tapes or solid with a conductive layer. The effect is to produce a smooth controlled flow at the screen end, that is, no discharge. At the end of the cone, the water flows smoothly over the edge. By increasing the diameter of the cone, we can reduce the flow per unit area to any desired value we like. Obviously, as the voltage increases, we need to increase diameter of the cone to achieve a given flow. Stress cones provide an extra layer of safety at the end of electrical terminations. They are required on medium to high voltage systems. Without a stress cone in place, the high concentration of flux between the conductor cable and shield termination could lead to fires or electric surges. The various types of the stress control methods are manually made stress cone, pre-molded stress cone, heat shrinkable tube. The features required for stress control are free from human errors and workmanship, consistency over the cable operating temperature, repeatable performance in lab and field. Degradation of the insulation by the formation of external carbonized path is referred to as cracking. As voltage increases, the point is reached where the potentials are sufficient to cause the current to flow across the surface of the covering. This surface current causes heating and dry band formation, which will then have the complete phase to ground voltage superimposed across it. This ultimately leads to arcing followed by thermal breakdown of the insulating material. The result depends on the type of the material. When examined in a cross-sectional view, the carbonized parts resemble the branches of a tree, known as treeing. When exposed to the outer environment, a polymer is attacked by ultraviolet rays, thermal effect, moisture, aggressive gases, dust. Unless a polymer is stabilized, it will not last long under these conditions. Since the above factors widely vary from one location to another, the weathering effects are not easily comparable. Natural weathering testing is time-consuming. Artificial weathering needs calibration. Tracking resistance ensures that the cable is protected from tracking. The higher the tracking resistance, the lesser would be the tracking on the surface of the cable. Tracking resistance is checked by the ASTM D2303 tracking and erosion resistance test. Silicon-based materials accessories are best anti-tracking material. Ethylene propylene diene monomer or EPDM is a poor anti-tracking material. Push-on termination are based on EPDM. That was a lot of information. We now come to the last topic of this course, cable maintenance. Let's understand what it is. The maintenance of cable installation includes inspection, routine checking of current loading, maintenance and care of all cables and end terminations. Click each tab to learn more. Whenever the cables or joints are accessible, as in manholes, ducts, distribution pillars, etc., periodical inspection should be made so that timely repairs can be made before the cables or joints actually cause by interruption to service. The frequency of inspection should be determined by each electric supply undertaking from its own experience. Important heavily loaded lines will require more frequent attention than less important lines. Cables laid direct in the ground are not accessible for routine inspection, but such cables are often exposed when the ground is excavated by other public utilities for installing or repairing their own properties. That was a lot of information. We now come to the last topic of this course, cable maintenance. Let's understand what it is. The maintenance of cable installation includes inspection, routine checking of current loading, maintenance and care of all cables and end terminations. Click each tab to learn more. Whenever the cables or joints are accessible, as in manholes, ducts, distribution pillars, etc., periodical inspection should be made so that timely repairs can be made before the cables or joints actually cause by interruption to service. The frequency of inspection should be determined by each electric supply undertaking from its own experience. Important heavily loaded lines will require more frequent attention than less important lines. Cables laid direct in the ground are not accessible for routine inspection, but such cables are often exposed when the ground is excavated by other public utilities for installing or repairing their own properties. Preventive maintenance in the form of regular inspection of all digging operations by other utilities or persons carried out in areas where electric cables exist is of utmost importance. In a city where the roads are congested with services of other utilities, the likelihood of damage to electric cables is very high. Cable inspectors should patrol the various sections of the city, and where it is found that cables are exposed, these should be examined thoroughly for any signs of damage, such as deformation or dents in the cable or damage to earthenware troughs or ducts. The life of paper insulated cables is considerably reduced through overloading. It is therefore essential to check the loads as frequently as possible to ensure that the cables are not loaded beyond the safe current carrying capacities. The derating factors due to grouping of several cables, higher ambient ground temperature, and higher thermal resistivity of soil should not be neglected. In the case of HV feeder, cables emanating from generating station, receiving station, or substation, panel-mounted emitters, which are usually provided, should be read daily. In the case of medium voltage distribution, cables emanating from distribution pillars, the loads are conveniently checked by clip-on type portable emitters. Distributor loads should be checked at intervals not exceeding 3 months. Maintenance of cables. Repairs of cables generally involve replacement of a section of the defective cable by a length of new cable and insertion of two straight joints. All repairs and new joints in connection with repairs should be made in the same manner as joints on new cables. In some cases where the insulations has not been damaged severely or where moisture has not obtained ingress into the insulation, it may only be necessary to install a joint at the point of cable failure. Maintenance of end terminations. In case of cable terminations filled with liquid insulating compound, it is necessary to check periodically the compound level in the termination boxes and to add compound if required. Under the Indian Electricity Act 1910, it is mandatory for any person proposing to excavate a public road to give prior intimation to the owner of electric cables that lay under the ground. When any cables are exposed during the work of other public bodies and such cables are required to be temporarily supported until the work is completed, the overhanging length of the cable should be well supported either by means of temporary piers erected below the cable at short intervals or by lashing the cable to a wooden plank laid below it and supported by further lashings at short intervals to a wooden beam placed above the trench parallel to the cable. Particular attention should be given to joints, as the slightest tension may result in the pulling out of the conductors at the ferrules in the joints. If the depth of the excavation carried out by another public body below the cable is considerable, it is necessary to build a permanent masonry support below the cable before filling in the trench. This eliminates the possibility of the cable sinking due to subsidence of the backfilling as it gradually consolidates. On completion of the work, the original protection covers should be carefully replaced over a bedding of soft earth and the trench filled in. This brings you to the end of the course. Here is a quick recap of the points learned in the course. Several factors need to be kept in mind while designing the power cables. They are stress control, anti-tracking properties, general features or weathering. A stress cone is a cone of insulating material built up at the end of the cable screen made either from tapes or solid with a conductive layer. The various types of stress control methods are manually made stress cone, pre-molded stress cone, heat shrinkable tube. Degradation of the insulation by the formation of external carbonized path is referred to as tracking. When exposed to the outer environment, a polymer is attacked by ultraviolet rays, thermal effect, moisture, aggressive gases, dust. Tracking resistance ensures that the cable is protected from tracking. The higher the tracking resistance, the lesser would be the tracking on the surface of the cable. The maintenance of cable installation includes inspection, routine checking of current loading, maintenance and care of all cables and end terminations. Click Next to proceed to the post-test.